What's going on, Internet? IG here again today. Today we're going to be covering a bit of a common problem for those of you who maybe don't have $700 to drop on a new smartphone each and every year. That is, how do you speed up an aging smartphone? So I'm going to cover sort of basic, pretty entry-level things you can do, and then get a little bit further when it comes to iOS devices and Android devices in terms of the nitty-gritty of stuff that you can do to help kind of speed up the performance of your smartphone. So starting off, probably the first thing, and like I'll cover the obvious things up front here. You know, all those apps that you can get that, like, you know, task cleaners and memory management and all this kind of stuff. Honestly, you don't really need them. Yes, some are better than others, and I could give recommendations, but I won't. Long story short, really, it's best to avoid them if you can, and just do the work that you need to do yourself, because honestly, if you do it right once, then you probably won't need to repeat it. So, on that note, what you want to do first is you want to get rid of all the stuff that you don't need. I know this sounds like an obvious one, but go through all of your apps, all of the data that you have on your phone, figure out what you do and don't need, and remove the stuff that you don't. Obviously, clearing your app drawer and all that kind of thing is actually not that helpful these days. Memory management on phones has gotten a lot better, so doing that, clearing your recent apps, swiping up and up and up on an iOS device, or swiping across to close all your recent apps on an Android phone, doesn't really do anything to make your phone any faster. Next most obvious thing is obviously to do a factory reset. Now, a factory reset can give you a lot of benefits in terms of setting the phone back to the way it was when you first bought it from the factory, and if you end up reloading all your stuff on there and it's just as slow, then you might want to move on. But it is worth mentioning, just in case you guys tend to overlook that. Alright, so now that you've done those basic things, what can you do to kind of step it up a notch? Well, in iOS, what you want to do is disable a lot of the animations and also reduce the translucency of your iOS device. So what that looks like is going into the settings of your iOS device, going to General, then going to Accessibility, and then turning on the Reduce Motion option. Basically, it's going to knock out some of the animations that make the phone seem that little bit slower. Now, to reduce transparency, you simply go to the same accessibility menu, go to Increase Contrast and Reduce Transparency, and basically it just lightens the load on the GPU. Now on Android, what you want to do is you want to reduce the amount of time that the animations take. So in an Android device, what you need to do is enable developer options first. So you do that by going to System Settings, tapping the About section 7 times, and then that will enable developer options. Once you go into there, then you can choose how fast you want the animations to go, whether you want them to go 1.0 speed, or maybe 0.5 speed, or 0.25 speed. That can really boost at least how quick the phone feels. Alright, so now that you've sped up the animations and limited the amount of animations that are on your phone, whether it's iOS or Android, what you want to do is you want to try and stick to the stock apps. Stick to the apps which came with the phone. Now I know for some of you this might be a huge limiting functionality for what you use your phone for, but hear me out. Phones, when they're designed, and the software that goes on them, they're designed to work with those specific specs in mind. Obviously, as phones age and software gets updated, there are new libraries and stuff that are introduced. Now, when you install a new app, let's say that works through a different programming language or is designed for a slightly different platform and has been ported over, then what will happen is your phone will end up using more resources to open up these apps and use them. So what you want to do is you want to try and stick to stock apps as much as you can. So if you have an Android phone, try and stick to the apps that Google make, or the ones that came on your phone to begin with. So, you know, this might be some of the Samsung software if you got a Galaxy, or it might be some of the Oppo stuff if you happen to have an Oppo. If you can stick to the stock apps as much as possible, then you've got a better chance of them actually running the way they were intended on your device. Obviously for iOS stuff, you're pretty well covered because Apple's got a stock app for pretty much everything. Okay, so now I want to talk about platform-specific ones. So let's cover iOS first. If you have an older iPhone or maybe an iPod Touch or an iPad, you want to disable background app refreshing. So again, it's something as simple as going into the settings, finding the background app refresh, and just turning it off. Obviously, you're not going to get push notifications for all the apps you might have installed, but at the very least, you're going to have a lot less going on in the background and less RAM being used overall. You'll also want to disable Siri. Siri can be quite a background resource hog, especially if she's always listening for that key phrase. I'm not going to say it because it'll probably set some stuff off. But again, going into the settings, going to Siri, and then asking, yep, what was that? Oh, okay, it's a message. But then going into those background settings, disabling Siri from listening in the background, and that'll help free up a bit of RAM as well. Now, on Android, the key to making a faster feeling phone, especially on the home screen, is go easy on the widgets. Widgets are a lot of fun on Android, but you do want to go easy on which ones you have. Again, sticking to the stock widgets that came with your phone instead of using third-party ones will help a lot when it comes to the performance of at least your home screen and the app drawer. Also, what you want to do with an Android phone is stick with a lightweight launcher. So you want to be using either the stock launcher that your phone came with, and if you're not happy with that, then sticking with ones like Nova or Apex or even Arrow or Cheetah. They are all very lightweight launchers and can get you quick access to the apps and services that you commonly use without using too many resources in the background. I normally would have put also the Google Now launcher, but considering that'll be discontinued very shortly, it's probably best not to use that one. Now finally, if all of this stuff is not working for you and you have an Android device, then you might want to tread down the path of custom ROMs. Now, a lot of you out there love the idea of custom ROMs, and some of you out there might be completely scared by doing something like that to your phone. But the two ones that I think you can be relatively safe with, especially with older hardware, I'm going to recommend Lineage OS, which is the sort of up-to-date version of what CyanogenMod used to be, and also Xiaomi's MIUI. Both of these are designed with older phones in mind and have quite a good catalog of older phones that they support. So check out the links in the description, and obviously, you know, do it at your own risk. You need to be careful with how you flash the ROM to your phone to make sure that you don't brick it. Chances are your phone's well out of warranty anyway, so you should be all covered in that respect. So that's about it. Those are my tips for speeding up an aging smartphone. Let me know if you have any other ideas and put them in the comments down below, and I will thumb up the ones, and definitely everybody else, thumb up the ones that you find really helpful as well, and we'll get a bit of a knowledge aggregate situation going on here. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the very next video. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen.